my first question for you is, what camera do you use?
I use a 1DX Canon, and then I also do the Sony Alpha 3.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Because we can continue this. No.
It's a big boy. That's what I use. The 1DX is mostly for studio stuff, but I feel like it is like a big, you feel cool when you have that camera.
Yeah, awesome. So you're a photographer. We've worked together. We just recently worked together, and you're amazing.
Thank you.
I love your style, which I want to get into, how you develop that. I want to talk about a lot of things today. So first off, like, how did you get into photography, and how did you fall in love with it?
My dad's actually a hobby photographer. So all my baby pictures were taken by my dad. And I think he's a doctor, but I think he would have preferred to be a photographer. And it's kind of crazy that he said from when I was about 3 years old, I was picking up his cameras and using it. He'd look through the rolls of film and be like, oh my gosh, the baby took an amazing photo. So it's kind of definitely something that was always instinctual to me. I'm sure you feel the same way, but my brain thinks in compositions. It always has. So like even looking at you right now, I'm like in 2/3. Yeah.
Rule of thirds.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, this plan
oh, it's fine. We like the plan.
Like my last two guests kept like running into it.
Furry Wolver. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of how I got started. And then as of age 16, I was making money for it. So
nice. Age 16. How?
I started taking all my friends' senior pictures.
Really? Okay.
And
in like high school?
Yeah. And then also I was in kind of like AP art. So more of like, and then we'd take pictures and they would draw over the pictures. So I would take everybody's pictures, and then it was kind of funny. So they'd have all the blue ribbons for the art, but it was all photos I taken that they drew over.
Yeah.
So it was kind of always funny, but yeah. And then I actually went to school for art history for 2 years and Latin. And then I decided I actually wanted to pursue photography full time after that.
And you have had a hell of a career.
Thank you.
Right? Like, I mean, and most of the people I've talked to who have been really successful, especially in video and photo, which I talk to a lot, have started from a young age and like fell in love with it, think in compositions like you do. Like it's almost a part of your brain that just, you just know what looks good, and you think a certain way, and it's that creative type, I think, comes from a very young age. Do you feel that? Like,
oh, absolutely. And then the other thing I do think that differentiates me from other photographers all the time is that I really love people. That's where a lot of this always comes from too. You can be a real technical photographer and kind of be shy around people. I love people. I love chatting with people. I love hearing their stories. I love, even when I'm photographing somebody I respect, like even when I shoot with Michael Phelps, I'm like, this is the most decorated athlete of all time. Like, how can you not respect this man and like all he's doing? So what a cool experience to like try to take an image that'll last a lifetime of somebody like that.
Yeah, we should tell people about that. We had a shoot with Michael Phelps, what was it, 2-3 months ago?
Yeah.
And like they loved you. They were like, and I could tell. I was watching you because I just wanted to see how you worked. But you're really good with people and like directing them in a certain way and just making the environment fun and chill.
Chill's the way to be.
I think
because we're not curing cancer. I don't know if you feel that way, but like people take it so seriously, and I'm like, we're not out here. We're doing something fun at the end of the day. We're taking pictures, we're being creative. And I don't think it always, like, even if we are doing something serious for a project, like obviously you should have your best professionalism about you, but
I'm not like, okay, so I feel like I'm not funny, but I always try to crack jokes like whenever I'm directing or anything, or just keep the environment fun, because you're right. Like if you start talking to them like very professional, especially, we'll talk about the celebrity you had direct them in a minute, but just anyone, but especially celebrities. If you talk to them formally and very professional, they show up that way on camera. And it depends what you're shooting or what you want, but most of the times that's not what you want. You want an authentic feeling to it, right? Like we were shooting a podcast last time, and what I want is it to be authentic. I want it to be an authentic environment, right? Do you ever feel that way where you need to like just be fun and like make sure like, hey, this is chill. Like, don't worry about the way this looks or that looks. Like I'll take care of it. Just relax.
Well, I think we're captains of the ship. I don't know if you provide it, but like everybody has a role in it. So it's like, I know with you, I admire what you were doing so much. I was like, okay, like when I was doing the BTS or behind the scenes for the shots, I was like, all right, I need to be out of the way and let you do your thing. And then also still, just making it quick and easy and then getting, GTF out, but I don't know. What do you think? Like,
I feel like, I don't know. Like, I think it just depends on your style, like what you want out of the video. Because some people do want that corporate professionalism, but I feel like it's more of a style choice. And I want my videos to be authentic because that's what resonates with people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like through the camera, when you're watching on the other end, you almost want to be immersed in the video. You feel like you're a part of it. Cause when you feel like you're a part of it, like in there in real life, then you get hooked in easier.
Well, that's also the whole thing with social media and like, YouTube, everything like that nowadays is people want to feel like they're actually with you.
Yeah.
And so that authenticity also makes you money. And it's like, that's a sad way to approach it in a lot of ways. But I think that authentic feels what's selling stuff as well now.
That's why, and that's why an eighth of the world, like 1 billion people have listened to podcasts on YouTube so far. And that's why podcasts are so, popular.
Poppin'?
Popping. Because it really is about that. Like people are feeling like they're part of our conversation because they are, they're listening in. And that's the key, I think, to any, success in any video. And for photo, it's similar, right?
Well, what's crazy with photos is that, with video, it's different, right? You're hearing voices and that, but my job is like with a photographer, it's a still image. So I love, with some of my more artistic stuff, I love for people to be like, oh, look at that guy. I can tell his story. They kind of create this own narrative. And I'm like, okay, if you can, like, you might have a different idea than I. And then they're like, is that what you were envisioning? I'm like, it doesn't really matter what I was envisioning. It's your perspective off of the still image. So that's kind of what I love about the creativity with a photo that's still, and you can't hear voices, that you kind of get your own interpretation. And then, I always say eye contact. Somebody's told me that before, that they could always see it feels like they're actually like looking into like they're having eye contact with my subject. And they said it's present even when someone's looking off from me. So I think that's one of the key to my photos is the like eye contact's so extreme. But I think it's because, they're looking into this black void, but I'm having actually intense eye contact with them when I'm taking their pictures. So I think there's some connection with my work. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always felt like that.
I never thought about that. Yeah. I'm trying to think when I got my pictures taken. I think also like letting things happen on set. Like when people think of directors or producers or whatever, mostly directors, they think of someone who's telling you what to do all the time and you have to move this way and that way. And that's true a lot of the times because the director will have the producer's vision or storyboard it out. But I think the key to a good director is letting things happen naturally.
Absolutely.
That are off script. Or that might have happened accidentally, right? Because it goes back to that authenticity that we were talking about, is like, if you let something happen authentically off script, it seems more real versus because they're not thinking about their lines. They're acting on the spot, right? So I think that's like a key to it.
100%. I don't know if you're obsessed with Severance, but I'm obsessed with Severance.
Yes.
Yeah. Ben Stiller, I listened to his podcast as well. And he just said, obviously, I'm sure Ben Stiller is not like a control, but he has some vision of what he wants. It's such a controlled show in a lot of ways. Yeah. It's very meticulous, but to have that little bit of wiggle room with it, like I think that from what I've gathered from his podcast, it seems like it's key to that as well. So.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, and with style, like I wanted to ask you, so how did you develop your style when it comes to photography? Like, did you develop it over time? Did it change? Like, how did that work?
I've always been drawn to black and white. I feel like those are some of my strongest images are my black and whites. I contrast the negative and positive space. Even in terms of when I was interning for Annie Leibovitz, the first assistant, he always told me like white bounces and black absorbs. And even with that in images too, right? Like that contrast. So I've always been attracted to that. So I don't know I would say that's one of my main styles. And then when it turned in like more personal work and when I was doing more modeling stuff, I was always attracted to elements. So like smoke, fire, water, anything natural light. Like, so always those kind of elemental things were always really kind of instinctual to me. And then as that started translating to other work, like the stuff we did with Michael Phelps, most of it was just, I had a studio, like just a white backdrop setup, and it was just him with natural light. There's no extravagant setup with lighting. It was just him, me knowing my camera settings, and that was really it. So
do you think that's like inspiring for photographers to know, is like you don't need as much as you think you need to get started or whatever?
I always tell photography, if you can't take a good photo with your iPhone, then that's really where you need to start.
Because you said composition.
Oh, right?
And lighting and all the camera settings. As long as those things are dialed in, it doesn't matter. And
I'm sure I don't know if you feel this way, but it's like very natural for me. Like I can see like, if I take a white card, it's going to, fill in the shadow here. It's going to like, so just even when you take a black and white and see how like in a 360 motion of how it's actually absorbing and bouncing, just like that guy told me, that alone should be your basics. Like if you can't use a bounce and no lighting or just like some shadowed area. A lot of my stuff when I was first starting, I'd hang up a black backdrop outside in some shade, and that was how I did it because I didn't have money for it. So
well, for people listening, I think we should probably explain what these things are, but like a bounce, a bounce is something, it's just literally a white bounce board that, if sunlight hits it, it bounces back light at you. Right. And so there's certain things and certain elements, like even in a white room, you'll notice that light is bouncing off the walls more. And so that's why in a white room, things look brighter and there's less contrast, right? Versus in like a black, dark room. Like, so all these things that people don't think about is like matters, right? Setting all these things. It's
some of my favorite images were in my first apartment, and I noticed I painted the walls dark gray.
Really?
And it's because it was absorbing all the extra light. So that's why they were some of my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah. So you call yourself a celebrity photographer, right? So what does that mean? Yeah, what does that mean?
I think it's more that I've had so much experience. I mean, I've photographed everybody from like D-list, C-list kind of people all the way to like I used to work for Kourtney Kardashian. So, and everybody in between that. So I just think, it was where my bread and butter was, especially like with my internship. So I interned for Vogue. There I probably even assisted on sets or sat people at their dinners for events. Every celebrity you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
And I was so good at it because I would have memorized the face list. I don't know if you've ever seen Del Wears Prada.
No.
Like there was a list of who'd be at the event because you don't want to be like, what's your name to Lena Dunham or something. So you memorize the face list. So at every event, I was the one. Yeah. So you don't want to be like, who are you, David Beckham? And they just don't like it, right? In an egotistical kind of sense, right? So I would always memorize all the face lists, and I'd be like, and I would memorize where they're seating. So all the other interns were scrambling with this face list, and I would treat it like a game at night right before the event. So I would stay and spend like 5 hours. So I would always see I've sat Francis Ford Coppola, Victoria Beckham, I've literally sat every person you could ever imagine. So that was during my internship days.
Wow.
And from there I met, everybody. And then my other internship was with, world-renowned Annie Leibovitz. And, that was with, I don't know, everybody, like Little Kim, Amy Adams. My first cover shoot assisting was with Amy Adams for a Vogue cover shoot.
That's awesome. And so do you notice anything like similar in celebrities? Like people always say, I feel like when people meet celebrities, they treat them like someone else. Do you notice a difference in their personality, or like what's been your experience, I guess?
I would say most big people are people at the end of the day. And like I said, how much I love people, that's the biggest thing to me. But I try. I'm not saying I haven't had moments where I've been starstruck because me and Kim, with Kim Kardashian, I didn't handle it properly. It was just like me and her in a room, and I should have given my elevator pitch. I think that's always the thing is you don't think you're going to use an elevator pitch until you're actually in an elevator with a celebrity or something like that.
Yeah.
I had 2 moments where I was actually in an elevator. One was with why can't I remember his name? He's like this famous model that's deaf, and he won America's Next Top Model, and I can't remember his name, but I was in an elevator with him, and then Milo Ventimiglia Amelia from like Gilmore Girls and This Is Us and like all this, but I was in an elevator with him and he heard me talking about photography and he really likes photography. And I totally I didn't blow it, but if I had told him more of an elevator pitch, I would have been more successful.
Yeah.
Except I was just nervous and, so it's not like I'm not nervous around celebrities sometimes. But for the most part, like when I worked for Courtney, I got to meet her children. I knew her security guards. I knew her cleaning ladies. Yeah. So like that kind of a human element to it, I think makes it so like once I saw how great of a mom Courtney was, I really connected with that. And like Tan France from Queer Eye, I photographed him right before season 2 came out and he ate his pizza with a fork because he's British, right? But my mom's South African, so I always ate my pizza with a fork. Yeah. And it sounds dumb, but that was kind of something we connected on. And even Lucky Blue Smith, he was like one of the top male models at the time, and now his wife is really Instagram famous, but his agent was South African and he's a drummer and I was just learning how to drum on like an electric drum set at the time. So we just totally connected. Wow. And so I just think there's always something, if you're a broad, like if you're an open person, I like to think that I am very
100%.
Like, open, but also I put my hands in a lot of things. I like lots of type of music. I love, lots of cultures and I've traveled a lot and there's a lot of things that can connect with people. But if you find that one thing that connects you with them, it opens up a whole box.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And like I've worked with celebrities before and, I noticed that at least the ones I've met are just like how I would talk to, my friends or my family. Like they're all like kind of normal people. But I think what's important is like they're normal if you treat them like one.
Well, the biggest thing too is most of the time, anybody that's famous is somebody that works very hard and is someone that's very talented.
Yeah, true.
So that's the two things. And I would like to think that I'm talented at what I do and I'm someone that works very hard. So again, those two just mutual points right there puts us at an understanding of one another.
Yeah, I mean, I was working with I still do, this NFL player, and he was, his name's JJ Burden. Shout out. He's a great guy. We talk all the time and like, I remember when I first started, I didn't have a lot of experience, right? But I think why he decided to go with me, and he, talked to like 10 other people to do like his speaker reel, because he's a public speaker now and motivational speaker. He does stuff for big companies, and he's like, man, like when you were talking to me, you said that, we're going to make the best video. And he's like, yeah, you had the vision for it. And I could tell you work hard, and he respected that, and I think that really that's right. Because those,
well, know your stuff too. Like,
exactly.
That's the thing is like what I noticed about you on set is you were so professional. You also like didn't try to do everything yourself. You hired, like you had a DP, you had like, like all this stuff like that. So that's what I noticed about you is that you handle everything professionally and like you're not just trying to like, you know what I mean? Like you'd probably rather spend money to have the people there. That's what I viewed it as, and make it look like everything's totally taken care of.
Oh, 100%. Because it is, like, I don't want to have to worry about where the shadows are going to hit the face and if we're recording or not. Like even now I'm like always paranoid about like, oh, is the audio going? Is the cameras rolling?
Yeah.
Cause like, I don't want to have to worry about that when I'm on set. I want to worry about what I need to do, right? The important part, making sure the message is getting across. Right. And I'm not saying I'm the only important part of it. Every aspect of it comes together and every aspect is important, but that's why I do that, right? Because I don't want to have a crappy end product. Like I always think quality is number one. Like the Phelps client that we were talking about, it's like, that's how I got that Phelps job, was because I did a good job on the first time. Yeah. But like, that's why, is because we crushed it on the first shoot that we did with them. And just cause, I wanted to do a good job and, like always. And they were like, wow, like, your videos really stood out. And they called me and said, hey, we just got, Phelps as a brand ambassador. We want you to be the guy to shoot it. And I was like, oh, that's great. All because that first shoot, we crushed it.
Well, it sounds like you're not only wanting people to be happy with the end product, but the process. And I think that's the whole biggest difference with how something goes and how somebody feels is like, yeah, like you can have a great photo at the end of it, but how did you feel during it? So, or video or everything like that.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like, actually, this is kind of a bad question, but like, I'll probably cut this out. But do you ever feel like the excitement, like on set, is more than, afterwards? Like,
of course.
Does that make sense?
Oh, of course. I mean, nobody likes sitting and editing for hours. I mean, I'm not an editor, but some people love it. But like,
not that. I mean, for the client. Like, I feel like after, like the day after, like, oh my God, thank you so much.
Like they're jazzed for like 24 hours. And
24 hours, and then it dies off. Is that off to say?
I think it's an endorphin thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, you're on this high of like, oh my gosh, I felt so good, whatever. I noticed it when I send, like, people will still be so excited, but like you'll send the link or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're jazzed about it, but they're not as excited to like, they're excited to receive the photos, not get the photos.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel that too. I was wondering that. That's actually, okay. That's interesting. I thought I was the only one who felt that. Okay, cool. Okay, so getting back on track here. So you mentor, right?
Yeah, I'm starting to at least.
What are you doing in that space?
I'm starting a mentorship program where, basically I help photographers elevate their branding and make more money. That's like my ultimate goal with it. And just also, a lot of people have dreams and they have trouble making it a reality. Yeah. And also people are talented at photography and have no business mindset. So that's kind of where I'm trying to help people, because I've made a lot of mistakes myself. Yeah. And the difference that I think is with my mentorship program, because I've done a lot of other people's programs, is I really give a shit. Like, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on this, but I really do. I really, really care about people. And I would rather like go above and beyond to help somebody live their dreams and give it my all. So that's kind of my goal with it, is like, I want to look at your portfolio. I want to, see any holes I can tell with it. Any questions they have. So that's really the space. But actually before that, I'm starting my own podcast. Okay. And it's called Beyond My Lens. And originally I was even like talking to ChatGPT about it. They were like, oh, you should do it through my lens. And I'm like, no, that's my perspective. Why don't we talk about it on the other end? Like, let me interview these amazing, incredible people that I've photographed and tell their stories and not make it really about me at all. So that's kind of my new goal. So it's actually really exciting. I love that. Yeah. I'm excited. Awesome. The confirmed guests right now are pretty poppin', and I'm really excited about it.
Nice.
But also like for everybody from small business owners. So like I'm going to have a dog trainer that I did her branding photos for, because I think she's so brilliant. She literally saved my dog's life.
Wow. Nice.
But then everybody too, like a girl who did a musical on TikTok and won a Grammy. So
what?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Super interesting. I love this industry because you just get to meet so many interesting people. You know what I mean?
Or like maybe I met them when they were still in that creative process and then they took off in different ventures, or I don't know. Yeah. It's really crazy to see people over the years.
Yeah. Earlier when I asked you if you mentor, you said that, like I do, because I've struggled with a lot of things. Right. Mm-hmm. I want to talk about that if you're okay with it. Course. Of like, we see Katie in the success you've built, but people don't see the other stuff that you had to go through or you had to build, right? So talk about that a little bit, maybe.
Well, I mean, I think first and foremost, I at some point I was like, oh yeah, I'm the celebrity photographer. I'm working with all these people. I'm like, but am I doing this because it brings me joy, or am I doing it to maybe prove some kids in high school that I could do it? Yeah. And that's the honest to God truth. Like, I kind of pivoted what I was doing in 2020 because I'm like, I want to actually photograph, make sure like I'm not just taking everybody that wants to work with me and being more selective about it. And that's when I also started working more with brands, because it brought me more joy. Mm-hmm. Not saying I don't do the celebrity stuff, but it's just a different pivot. But yeah, some of the mistakes I've made, I mean, I used to be like, I still am kind of a yes person, but I used to say yes beyond my limitations. Okay. I would be like, oh, you're going to get your photos in 24 hours and kind of kill myself to make sure that happens. Yeah. But now I'm like, 2 weeks. And if you get them in a week, lovely. Yeah.
24 hours is pretty intense.
But it's because I was such a people pleaser.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And you talk like, it's that endorphin thing that you said earlier. It's like people are so excited to see the photo or see the video or whatever.
They have unrealistic expectations on you. Because I don't know if you feel this way, like energetically, an hour shoot for me can feel like a whole day's work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a lot.
Yeah, because you're thinking of so many things at once, I think. You know.
Well, and when you rush the editing too, creatively, especially with video, because I've done a little bit of video work, you're limiting the person's creativity by rushing the process.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh. That's a good point, actually. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, because you don't have time to like ferment. I'm a big person of like letting things develop. I was actually supposed to be a director of photography for a movie, and they were trying to rush the whole process. They were like, we need to get out this year. And I'm like, you're not giving this project any time to really settle. Like, this is probably something that should be done over 4 years, not in 9 months.
Wow.
So, yeah, that was definitely one of the things. And then, you know, like I was talking about with the celebrity stuff, like I did not, you know, in college, I used to say, memorize your elevator pitch. And there's times I just messed up.
Yeah.
And also in terms of like substance, like I stopped, I've been sober from alcohol now for 9 years.
Oh, wow.
But
Congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like almost been a decade since I've been drunk.
Wow.
Yeah. But I used to smoke a lot of weed. Like that's a very creative thing. But I've now been sober from that for a year. Cause I stopped like 2 months before I got pregnant but
That's smart.
Yeah, yes. But
You also have a baby, so congrats.
thank you.
Yeah.
She's really freaking cute and awesome. She's the best thing ever.
Brand new. Yeah.
Brand new. But yeah, even with that, my first shoot after was with Michael Phelps 6 weeks after.
Yeah.
I remember Nicole Phelps was like, are you okay? I was like, kinda.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so with that, like the weed stuff, like before I was on America's Next Top Model, I'm pretty sure I smoked like a whole blunt. Like, again, this is just being honest with you.
Yeah.
It was so unprofessional, like so unprofessional. And I messed up a line. Like they asked me to like introduce myself, and I just got nervous and I totally just beefed it and they didn't use it. But it's like, imagine if I'd been more clear-headed, prepared, confident, all those things. Like,
So you quit weed too?
yeah.
Like
Yeah,
fully?
Yeah, I'm fully sober.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nada.
Yeah. I've purposely never gotten into alcohol or weed or anything because, you know, my family, you know, I'm not going to say who, but I have family members who are hopefully not watching this that, that have gotten into that stuff, you know? And so I've seen it and I know that it, you know, I have an addictive personality, very addictive. And so, you know, I know that if I do too much of one thing, then I'm just going to be fully immersed in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it's important to know that about yourself. Right.
Well, and then again, in terms of awesome mistakes too, like I had really low self-esteem at one point in my life due to like early childhood traumas, you know, relationship issues, like all these things in my life that kind of made it so that I had a little bit of self-esteem issues, still do, to be honest. And that's why, you know, I did stuff for free when I probably shouldn't have. I was just desperate too. So there was like lots of things in my life that just rooted from low self-esteem caused other issues in my career, in my life, you know, everything from that. So,
yeah. And that's how people take advantage of you too. You know, like, I've noticed that with me, like whenever I offer someone something for free or, you know, when I used to do that, it's like they just take more and more advantage of you and it, you know what I mean? And it never stops. So it's like really a core issue that you have to like kind of control yourself. It's not like
people will take your kindness for weakness 100%.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I believe that like, for me, again, I'm like a spiritual person. Like I believe God has always had my back when it comes to this. So like anything that I have done has usually come back to me, you know, like I did a shoot for free once and then, you know, it ended up being a book cover and then I made a couple racks from it. Right. So things do come around when you put out that like positive energy and you don't expect things in return. Right. But at the same time, you don't want to be taken advantage of, and which I know I 100% was at like some point in my life.
Yeah.
So it's like you can be kind and do things for free, but at some point, like, are you being taken advantage of?
Yeah.
But would I have had opportunities that I didn't? Like, I worked for the Kardashians for free multiple times.
Yeah.
You know, so, but.
Well, it's the Kardashians.
It's
you
the
know,
Kardashians.
You gotta get in with them somehow.
Exactly. So it's like, but again, maybe that's the person you do stuff for free for, but the person, like, there is this not so nice designer that just like kept asking and asking and asking of me, and I just kept doing it because I thought I had to.
Yeah. True, because you think you're gonna get that thing in the end, but Yeah. People are like that. And that's how it is. That's how it is. So I wanted to talk a little bit about your side of photo, right? Because storytelling is an art form, right? When I do video, I think of things in a certain way, and I'm wondering the photo side, like how that works, right? Because I've talked to photographers and they say, how do you do video? Like it's 1 million frames and it's 24 frames per second. Like how do you get that? Like, cause photographers think 1 frame at a time. And I'm like, how do you do photography? Right? Because video is easy compared to photography, in my opinion, because you're constantly rolling. You're always going to capture the moment, even if it happens accidentally, right? For photography, you have to always be on point in order to capture the moment. Does that make sense?
100%,
Because if you miss it, you're screwed, basically. Not screwed, but you missed the moment.
Well, even like
you can't go back.
Compared to like my daughter right now, like I don't really have like my camera just out right now. Like if I have so many moments with her because I have a phone and I've taken pictures, but I'm not like, I haven't really taken many pictures with her with my camera.
Yeah.
And when I think about, because just like what you said, if a camera was rolling the whole time, but there's these little moments that I just miss all the time with her. I said that the only thing I know how to compare it to is now being a parent, but yeah, I mean, for sure. But I think, I don't know, there's also a quiet essence to being a photographer. Like sometimes you can just have it there and then just boop and you're kind of quiet about it. Right. So
I saw on your website, you work with Vogue. Is that right?
Yes, I interned for Vogue, actually.
Interned for Vogue. Yep. Okay.
So my first internship ever was with Vogue magazine. Which was crazy because everybody else there had like interned for like Dolce & Gabbana and like Who What Wear. And I was like, I don't know how I got here. But I like partied with somebody and they were like, you'd be perfect at Vogue. And I'm like, what? And then,
Well, you know what they say? They say you're not a model until you've been in Vogue.
There you go. So,
Drake. That's a Drake line.
There it is. But I mean, well, even like in terms of that too, like I really felt like I was like the curvy intern there that like all these like truly like these girls were all like these like stick thin, like hungry people, but I was doing like way better job than them. They were just so like delirious, but like I just swept in because like I said, with the faceless and I ended up booking, this is like a crazy story, but my boss had like a vacation in Brazil and I took Latin in college and my family's Spanish and like so I'd taken Spanish for 14 years and so I could speak enough Portuguese like on Google Translate to like book a whole room for her and the whole trip for her in Portuguese.
Wow.
And she ended up because of that like trusting me to run the Vogue offices while she was on the trip for a week. So certain things like that where I was like,
Portuguese is a hard language.
Oh yeah. I was like, the only thing I remember is like obrigado now. And like, that's about it. I'm like,
I'm learning Spanish and man, that's hard. Like I'm on Duolingo, but Portuguese is a whole nother.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful language though. I listen to a lot of Portuguese music.
Oh,
actually.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
I love Portuguese music. Like, from Brazil, especially. I think there's a lot of talented artists in Brazil.
Well, that's actually, so my great grandfather, they always said he came from Spain, but it turns out he actually came from Portugal. So he was an orphan and got on a boat and went to South Africa and then ended up like working at a bakery when he was like 8 years old. It was like complete child labor. But then he ended up starting his own bakery and like my mom's family is called Brito Bakery. It was, they had this bread company and their slogan was always buttered, never bettered. And like there's this whole like company. So yeah, like my actual like lineage is Portuguese.
What?
So yeah, like
that's
crazy.
This
is my great grandfather's side.
Wow.
Yeah, and then his wife was Caterina Giacomina. Yeah.
Wow. That's
Isn't that
awesome.
Funny? Yeah.
That's crazy. What were we talking about? Oh yeah. So America's Top Model I saw.
Yeah. So I was a guest photographer on America's Next Top Model. Growing up in a really
America's
small town.
Next Top? I thought it was America. Okay.
Yeah, it was America's Next Top Model. That's like the show. Tyra Banks started it when I was like in grade school and somebody that always dreamed of being a fashion photographer and growing up in a town called Rockford, Illinois, which is like this small hood town like next to Chicago. I was like, I'm going to be the photographer. I'm going to totally do that one day. And then the show canceled and I was always like, a lot of the models I'd worked with were on that show because I was like, maybe I'll never be on that show, but I'll work with some of the models. Mm-hmm. So then they rebooted the show and this guy, Drew Elliott, he was ended up being the editor-in-chief at Paper Magazine, but at the time he was the creative director. He like found me through that picture I took of that guy, Lucky Blue Smith, I was telling you about.
Yeah.
And so he had me starting to work for Paper, but he was a judge on that show at the time, like for the reboot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I just remember I had a meeting with him, and he was smoking cigarettes at the time. He doesn't smoke anymore, but he was going down the elevator for a smoke, and I was in the lobby, and he's like, just wait for me. And then as the elevator closed, he goes, you're going to be on America's Next Top Model. And I was like, what the fuck, Drew? Like, don't give me a heart attack, you know?
It just left you like that?
Yeah. And then the craziest day ever. So my brother used to live with Chance the Rapper's musical director, so he had given me free tickets to Governor's Ball when Chance was like headlining.
Yeah.
So this one day I like had this crazy day where I had like artist, passes at Governor's Ball in New York.
That's
Spent the whole day like smoking with Chance's crew, like doing this like nuts thing. I brought my cousin.
I love his music, by the way.
Oh yeah.
He has I like the old well, he doesn't really have much new stuff, but
yeah,
he's a cool guy.
Super cool guy. So yeah, it was like this crazy day.
So
I
you
got
were
to
with
meet
him and his crew.
Yeah, like
smoking.
backstage at Governor's Ball.
That's sick.
It was sick. And then they gave me and my cousin artist passes. So we like spent the whole day. We were like front row for Childish Gambino. Like it was such a crazy day. But then that night I got an email from like the producers at America's Next Top Model.
Yeah,
so it was like such a crazy week. Like,
Wow.
like
You must have been high on life.
Oh yeah. And then like
week.
4 days later, they flew me out. It was like my first time ever, like having a driver, having my like flights paid for, getting
driver.
Yeah. They like had a driver pick me up from the airport. Like, yeah, booked my hotel, like everything.
So you're kind of a big deal.
I mean, it was a big deal for a day.
Yeah.
But that was like, it was like such a crazy week. So yeah, I got to be the guest photographer for how the show works is there's always like a challenge and then they do a photo shoot. So there's always a guest photographer who's like usually someone cool.
Okay.
And I was that person. So it was the,
you just called yourself cool.
I did.
I like that.
But it was always Nigel Barker who was like, he was one of those famous ones or some other photographers. But yeah, nice. I shot the crossover episode that was RuPaul's Drag Queens mixed with America's Next Top Model. So I shot like some of like the funniest drag queens too.
Oh, I see some of those clips. It's hilarious.
It was hilarious. If you actually watch the episode I'm on, half the stuff that's shown in it was not, or half the stuff that happened was not even shown in the episode. It was so funny. We were like just cracking up all day.
So wait, where can I find the episode? So you're
on Hulu.
So you're actually in the episode.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically like, I was like, so like this like skinny little 25-year-old at the time, like just bopping around, taking pictures. Like I think because the drag queens are so tall, they had to put me on like an Apple box because I'm like 5'6". And so, yeah, it's like, you just see me like standing on this Apple box and saying, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Yeah. But you can find it. It's episode 6 of season 24.
Yeah. So, wait, sorry, what is it?
Episode 6 of season 24 on Hulu.
Season 24.
Yeah.
I don't know why I asked again. I could just watch it back.
Yeah. Or I can text you.
I'm gonna look at that now. Yeah. That's hilarious. You had to stay on an Apple box.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was tiny. All these like models who are like 5'10" to begin with, they're in heels. And then it's the drag queens. They're, men that are in heels. And I had no chance.
I'm not like height shaming, but I think it's hilarious. Like whenever I see, like there's this one female DP, Anime, who she's awesome, super nice. She used to work for my dad actually. But she's like this short, like cute, like little girl. And she's like, very friendly and all this. And whenever she's DPing, she has to like stand on the Apple box. And I don't know why, but just the image of it is just
well, that's the craziest thing about being like a female in our industry in general. Yeah. Like, I think it was a very like male dominated thing. And then, for me, especially when I was like much smaller in general, like I just felt like this little thing that had so much like energy and artistic, this. And like, I just was like, let me out of this little box. Like I was just like this like pint-sized person that had like all this like, energy. So.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're right. It is so male dominated, the film industry. I recently just hired my first female DP for one of my shoots, and she is, one of the best I've ever worked with. You know what I mean? Like she is super. Stephanie Rose, I'll give her a shout out. She is amazing because she thinks of everything. Like I would have never thought it. And she's always like giving me ideas and, I just felt like I missed out. You know what I mean?
Well, one of the big struggles too for a long time, again, going back to my self-esteem thing and charging and whatever, I read something a long time ago that was just saying the discrepancy between, you know, and I'm someone that believes in like, you know, like we're all like, I don't see any difference between you and me, right? Whatever. But there was a thing that men just got paid so much more as photographers than women for some reason.
Yeah.
Because they viewed it more as like the women having a hobby and the men having a career.
Yeah.
And so that was always something I noticed. So I was like, you know, I know for a fact that male photographers, even just their authority that they take with it, because I know sometimes that people will be with me, they'll be like, okay, I'm like, oh, this is my rate. And they'll be like, oh.
Wouldn't expect it.
Wouldn't expect it.
Yeah.
If I had $1 for every person that was like, you need to be charging way more.
Yeah.
I would be so rich.
Yeah.
They'd be like, what are you doing or whatever. But yeah.
For sure.
I think it's a confidence thing mixed with like men just have this like, I don't know, different type of like people are more likely just to say yes to a man than a woman for some reason in that sense. But that's one of the struggles. I'm like trying to just take the same approach.
I think it honestly like depends though, like on personality, right? Because like I don't want to generalize women or men, but I think really it's, you know, if you have that like giving personality and you're willing to give so much, I think, yeah, like we were talking about earlier, people take advantage of that.
And maybe
you know?
that is, it's more of like a nurturing, like, oh, kindness, like, okay, well, I'll take whatever you got.
Which is more common with women, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's why it's just a personality thing. I don't think it's I think it's more a personality.
Because that's the thing is, I know so many women, I do know a lot of photographers that they're like, nope, take it or leave it, love. Yeah, like that's the rate, take it or leave it, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
so
100%.
there is that, but yeah, maybe it's just a confidence thing.
Okay, we're wrapping up here, but I want to talk about the Kardashians that we brought up so much. Like, how did you get the Kardashians? Like, that's like when you think of models, like that's the number one person you think of is like, or people you think of as the Kardashians.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
in terms of pop culture, they're the epitome of it, right? So, Drew Elliott, who I told you was the judge on America's Next Top Model, he worked with a guy named Mickey Boardman, who's a creative genius, like probably the most like photographed person at Fashion Week. He was friends with another, like on The Facts of Life, Mindy Cohn. She was Natalie on the show.
Okay.
And then she was friends with Simon Huck. So like I said, it's like a tale like of doing like basically free shoots for all these people.
Yeah.
And just wanting to connect. Like I said, it came from a place of wanting to connect and just getting to know all these, again, very talented people. Then she was like, I want to introduce you to Simon Huck, who does the PR for the Kardashians. He's done the PR for them for years and they're very good friends.
Yeah.
But one of those like low key kind of players, like not every person would know Simon, but he's probably been in tons of episodes, you know, the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I said, hey, I would just love to, you know, meet you, do a shoot for you. I hired or asked for collaborators for a makeup artist, a stylist. I booked the studio. My brother like did an interview with him. And I just was like, hey, like, let's do a whole magazine shoot for you.
Yeah.
Which maybe is something he doesn't do all the time.
Right.
So I did that. And as soon as he walked in the room, he was like, have you worked with the K's? And I was like, no, I have not worked with the K's. And then he actually was one of those people, he said, I can just tell by talking to you, you need to charge triple. So that was like one of our first conversations. He's like, right off the bat, like, you're too nice. And I was like, okay. And then he's like, I'm actually going to connect you with Courtney's PR or assistant or something like that. And they did, but it was one of those things where like,
wow,
maybe from a confidence thing as well, but she started a lifestyle blog called Poosh. And
Who's she?
Courtney.
Oh, Courtney.
So I worked, like I ended up doing a couple shoots for her, but it was me photographing like a water bottle with plants or like her tacos for her, like a recipe ad. So it wasn't anything like my true talent, I like to think, is photographing people.
Yeah.
So I did work with her a couple times, but it wasn't like the artistic stuff I'd want to do. So then going back to like my belief that God actually probably saved me from a lot of things. Like I think if I had gotten the opportunity to really work with them in the capacity that I think my like talent has, I think I would have blown up in a different way and maybe I wouldn't be married right now and I wouldn't have my daughter.
Interesting. What do you mean like by blown up in a certain way?
I think the pictures I could have taken with them, if I was given the opportunity, would have been like incredible. Yeah. And it would have gotten me a lot of different work. And then maybe my ego would have taken a different direction.
Oh, there's no way. You're like the most humble person ever.
I'd like to think so, but you never know.
I can't imagine you with the ego.
But like, you never know. Like, or maybe I just, cause there was a long time where I never thought I'd get married.
Yeah.
I thought I'd be like a single mom. I wanted to adopt a bunch of babies and dogs.
What do you mean? Like just because of work?
Because when I was dating a lot, so I'm actually married to a friend from high school.
Yeah. He's a great guy, by the way. I met him.
You.
Yeah.
I love him.
He's just a solid dude.
Solid dude. But he also has known me since I was 13. So he knew me before all my career.
Yeah.
But I had a lot of trouble dating for a long time because they'd always be like kind of into like what I was doing or a little bit intimidated or
not into what you were doing, you said?
Like too into what I was doing. They thought it was so cool that I was doing celebrity stuff, or maybe like just the people I was around. Like there was like kind of like Wall Street guys I dated and they were so boring and they weren't funny. I always wanted somebody I could laugh with. And I just felt like I would never get that.
Oh, yeah.
Just by living in LA and New York.
Yeah.
Or like, I mean, I constantly like hung out with gay guys. I was like, I'm just going to end up with a husband.
Husband.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But, you know, like all my best friends were like, you know, model straight guys or gay guys. And that was like my world. So I was like, oh, you know what will probably end up happening is I'm going to marry my career. I'll end up adopting babies and adopting dogs. And that's going to be my path. And I'm going to be so happy about it. But in 2020, that's kind of when I started going to church and I found, you know, there's this different healing path for myself. And and then I kind of decided like maybe living in LA wasn't suiting my emotional needs as much. So that's when I moved here after.
Wait, so you don't like when a guy is like too into what you do?
I would say my husband is like my biggest like fan for sure. It's not like he's not into it, but they were more
literally like on our Phelps shoot, he came to help you because you had just had a baby.
Yeah.
He literally came to help you, like carried equipment for you. I'm like, holy shit, this is like a solid, like that's a good husband right there. Yeah.
But I had some photographer people that they would see my Instagram. Like you say you're on like Hinge or something like that. They'd see my Instagram and then all they wanted to talk to me about was photography. They didn't really want to get to know
celebrities, you know.
Exactly. And there was no like getting to know me as a person. Whereas my husband, like, we like laughed about liking the same Daniel Tosh stand up and quoting the same dumb movies.
Tosh.0.
Yeah, it was it was just like one of his original stand ups. It was so funny. We both like quoted the stand up.
Okay.
From
his actual stand up.
Yeah, it was so funny. So yeah, I think but like I said, maybe if that would have been my path. There was always this like Gaga quote that I used to love, and it was like, your career is never going to wake up and decide it doesn't love you anymore. And so that was like my motto. I was like, why date a man when I can date my career?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I love when I'm dating someone and they're into what I do, honestly.
You love it?
Yeah, I like it. I'm going to be honest. Like because I love it so much. And like, if we can connect over it, it's like, yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Well, that's the thing. So I was actually engaged before when I was like 24 to a photographer, and it was like, he was a fine photographer. He was more of like a landscape photographer, but he was so comparison with me. You could tell that like he was so like jealous, or it was something about it. Like there was some innate like competitiveness, and it wasn't when I was like trying so hard to like help him with connections, but there was some, maybe again, I
can see that.
Yeah, there was something weird about that. So like that didn't really work out in that sense. So I don't know, but you know, like I said, if I had maybe had the opportunities to be as creative as I wanted with the Kardashians, I think God was protecting me from something in that moment. Because sometimes I feel like, oh, should I have asked them for more opportunities? Or maybe, you know, if I was a little less soft-spoken, I would have had those opportunities. Like I was in a room, just me and Kim Kardashian. I could have been like, hey, I'm friends with Simon Huck. Like, I would love to take portraits of you, like for your next brand. Like, let's do it. And if I'd been confident enough to do that, but who knows what God was actually protecting me from.
Yeah, but think about like sometimes those hard lessons that hit you in life, though, that really like, that's what it takes to learn the lesson, right? Like if you would have just been more confident or whatever it is, like in that moment, yeah, it sucks to think back on, but you didn't know that lesson beforehand.
Yeah.
Right. But now you do. So I'm sure like that's why I believe what you said is like everything happens for a reason. So, you know, you're never going to make that mistake again. Right. Because like that was Kim Kardashian. You like, that's a dream right there for most people.
Yeah. But like I said, maybe my daughter wouldn't be here right now if that was the case. So.
That's what I'm saying. Like everything happens for a reason, and all of your mistakes and your mishaps or whatever it is like it happened. But
Well, and then that's also, again, like just thinking about lessons now. Like I used to be, and again, still to some degree a workaholic, right?
Yeah.
But every morning with my daughter now, we co-sleep from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. And that's my like cherished time with her. Like I don't take meetings before 10 o'clock now because I have time with my daughter.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to talk to you about, I almost forgot, but I asked you like right when you walked in, is like you turned down Kanye West.
Yeah.
Turned down Kanye, which now makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? I mean, we can all agree now, but this was like back when he, like you said before, he like went crazy.
It was when Jesus Was King. His album came out. It was out. At the time I was like super into that album. I thought it was amazing. And he was doing like a show at the Hollywood Bowl, and it was kind of like a theatrical thing. And my boss from Vogue, she was an editor at a different magazine. She's like, so basically, like I said, the whole week, let's just go back.
Yeah.
So this was the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, right?
Okay.
Or maybe the Monday before Thanksgiving. I was supposed to fly home. And this just shows you how the universe or God or whatever you believe in works. So I was supposed to fly home that Wednesday. My brother's roommate, who was Chance the Rapper's, musical director, he's like, "Hey, Katie, I want to do an interview with Chance. Will you video record it?" I'm not a videographer, right? But I did it. Yeah. And so I had to push back my flight to go home for my last Thanksgiving in my childhood home. So I already was like I already pushed back to be like missing out on a chance with my family, right?
Right.
And it was also my 10-year high school reunion. So, okay, let's just put this all into perspective. So I ended up coming home Friday. I was supposed to be on Wednesday, did the shoot with Chance the Rapper. Then Saturday, we were going to do like a Thanksgiving. It was like the prequel. And my mom had like slaved over this meal. She had done it early for me because it's the only week I could come home. So it was like our, whatever. And that Saturday morning, I got asked to fly home that day, or like I'd have to fly home Saturday to photograph Kanye on Sunday.
Oh God, yeah.
And I was like, I can't do this. Like I literally already came home
so
late.
much packed in, going from Chicago to LA to Chicago, and I had to make a choice. It was either like my mom slaved over this meal for days, missing my last, really big event in my childhood home, missing my 10-year reunion, which again, who really cares? Like hardly anybody was there, except for my husband was there. Okay.
So my now husband, right? But so I ended up saying no because I was like, morally, something feels off to me. And I can't just keep jumping at every opportunity that comes my way because then I'm going to completely miss out on my family. Like what if something happened to my mom like later that year and I decided to like miss this thing with her? I would never I'm always somebody, my mom's mom actually died when she was 23. So I always grew up with the mentality to like really cherish your parents and honor your parents. Yeah. It's a big thing for me. So yeah, I'm like, I'll never regret spending one more moment with my mom and my dad. So that was why I did it. Was because
if it was anyone, like, is there a person you would have done it for? If
Kanye
it wasn't
was pretty big.
Yeah, but I mean, like, is there one person like comes to mind where like, oh, if it was this person, I would have done it. Like you're. I
think at the time I was like really into photo. I wanted to photograph Jay-Z, Brad Pitt. Probably I would have done it for. But I actually have photographed Brad Pitt.
Really?
Yeah, I just had an event, but I still did it. Yeah, and I got to I whispered in his ear. That was like my, because I knew his like godparent to his daughter, and I was like, I'm friends with her, and he was like, what? And he's like, was like whisper in my ear, and I was like, okay, Brad Pitt.
What? That's crazy.
It was crazy, but yeah. So like maybe somebody like that, I would have done it for, like somebody like super like that. But Kanye was really big at the time, and
yeah,
I still.
Do you think it was the universe telling you something?
Yeah, I mean, I ended up going to my high school reunion and my husband was like hammered and hitting on me. So maybe we wouldn't be married. So.
Yeah, that's true. So that's where you met him?
Reconnected.
Well, obviously you met him in high school, but that's where you reconnected to then get back together.
He was best friends with one of my best friends at the time. And so we had seen each other maybe 2 days before that. And then we were like, oh, we're going to go together and hang out there.
Wow. So
yeah.
if you would have done that shoot for Kanye, you probably wouldn't have been
Had
with
that
your
connection.
husband right now.
Yeah, one of my best friends, she went with me and she's like, you and Dylan are so cute. Like, you should totally date him. And I was like, no, I'm not dating Dylan. And now we're married and have a child. So yeah.
What? That's awesome.
Yeah. So like I said, I mean,
yeah.
it was a crazy week. It was the same kind of week, like that governor's ball thing I was telling you about. But it's like, for me, I'm like, how greedy does somebody have to be? Like, I literally just spent like 2 days or like a whole day with Chance the Rapper. Do I need to also be with Kanye in the same week? Like, is that like what in greedy sense, like, do I need that for my ego? Do I need that for my portfolio? No. And didn't know they also didn't tell me it was going to be a cover shoot. If I had known that it was maybe going to be on the cover of a magazine, I probably would have done it.
Yeah.
But everything happens for a reason.
I will say, like, you know what? Like, yeah, he's a freaking lunatic, but that dude's like
A genius.
yeah, like
Yeah.
you know, like I don't care what anyone says. His music's good. I'm sorry, but it's really good.
I mean, yeah, we can go into the whole thing, but that's like, I am really good at separating like the product from the person sometimes. And yeah, I mean, genius.
It's crazy the way those kind of people's mind works, you know, but like, you know, no normal person is like, you look at people like Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg or any of those people, they don't, like, if you listen to them on a podcast or whatever it is, they're not normal humans, you know?
But that's also the same thing. So like at some point too, I started realizing like, yeah, there are celebrities that are incredible people and are kind and just talented and whatever, but there are some people that kind of are like doing evil shit in this world, and I don't really want to be the person photographing them.
True.
And adding to the same like idolatry literally of these people.
Well, you stick to your values, and I like that, Katie. I really like that. Well, thank you so much for coming on and talking about all this stuff with all these celebrities and your life. And yeah, I'd love to come on your new podcast.
Yes, please.
But yeah, like seriously, this was amazing.
Thank you.
I really appreciate
you, for having
Katie. Yeah, thank you for all the great work you do.
And thank you. You've literally, now we're going to be working together like twice a year.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
because of something that, you know, and you and me met at a birthday party. So like, how crazy is that? So
yeah, awesome.
Thank you so much,
Katie. Yep.